I'm pretty sure all of you guys had a good childhood. If you didn't, let me know. Well, I'm sure everyone did. But if you did, I'm glad to hear that. No, I'm joking. Sorry, I'm nervous. I'm pretty sure all of you has had a childhood before, or have had a childhood before. If you haven't, then I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, I'm gonna be talking about stuff from my childhood. So I was born and raised in California. I'm not gonna say which city, because I don't want any creeps finding where I live, but does the microphone pick up? Sorry, I can. I don't think it does. I was listening to my sister's pet bird named Midnight, start tweeting, just start chirping. But we're good. So, stuff from my childhood. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I was born and raised in California in 2011. And I now live in a city that's right next to the city where I live. I'm not going to say that city, but... And then it's like a city next to the beach. In fact, I live on a hill now. I live in... I'm not going to say the city, but... I live on a city that's on... I live on like a neighborhood. I live on a neighborhood that's on a hill. So I can hear my sister's pet bird from over here. It's because I have really good hearing. But in today's live stream, I'm gonna be mentioning childhood things. So one of my guys, I'm going places right now. I don't know what I'm saying. I have no idea why I'm even going, like why I'm repeating the same thing over and over again. Probably because I'm really excited to do this. So, anyway, so for today, I'm going to be talking about childhood stuff. So, one of my big childhood snacks when I was younger was definitely Lay's classic potato chips. Anybody ever try that? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I remember I used to eat them all the time growing up. They were the best. They were one of my favorites, actually. Another childhood snack was Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Anybody know that? Anybody know what that is? Anybody know what that is? Yeah. Very, very interesting. I don't know what this is. Like a suction. Anyway, hold on 1 second, everybody. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about childhood stuff. So, yes. One of my, another snack I had when I was younger was Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Anybody know what that is? Anybody know what that is? Classic snack. I used to have it all the time growing up. But I don't eat it that much anymore because I stuck to waffles by the time I got into middle school. During middle school. When I first started middle school, I was thinking, what kind of breakfast should I have? And because I'm very slow at, getting ready in the morning for school, I'm always like, what should I have for breakfast? Because I'm super slow in the morning getting ready for school, I'm like, I like move as slow as a sloth, I will say that, when getting ready for school. So, yeah. But another thing is that, another childhood snack I had growing up, I can't speak, another childhood snack I had growing up, what was it? I think it was Capri Suns. Yeah, Capri Suns. I loved those. Growing up, I loved Capri Suns. And they were the best. The best. The freaking best. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. I don't know where I went there. What's the picture doing? It's a... Hey, look at that. I got I actually made a YouTube short of me talking about this. Me rediscovering an old Polaroid camera I had in my room for years, and I had that thing for years. Well, I had it for 6 years, and that camera is 6 years old already. But I can still take pictures. I mean, it still has film in there. Well, I put new film in there. In that short. Well, not really in that short, but I think it was it was yesterday. Put new film in it yesterday. And it could take pictures. And I took a picture of... 1 second. I took a picture of this. It's a Game Boy Color. My dad bought this thing when Game Boy Color first came out. But here it is. Yay. My dad bought this thing when it first came out. I'm not gonna, I'm not really gonna turn it on and play it because I don't want this live stream to get copyrighted. I'm so scared of it getting copyrighted, dude. You don't even know. Sorry, was my arm on there? Yeah, it was. Sorry. What I was saying was, I don't want to play any games on this thing because I don't want to play any games on this thing because, I'm afraid it's going to get copyrighted, even though there's nothing in here, but I'm afraid it's going to get copyrighted. The music is copyrighted. I'm so scared of copyright. You don't even know. One of my biggest fears on my channel is copyright. I have done 3 live streams on OBS, and they all got copyrighted because I played, some sort of video game. And I think I had a video in it or something. Well, no, 2 live streams got copyrighted. The first OBS live stream I did, I ended up quitting because I couldn't figure out how to add live chat. I was just I can't do this anymore. So I ended up quitting. Yeah. I'm okay now. Hey, I'm alright now. I'm here. I'm live streaming. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm good. I actually have my dad actually bought these 2 games when he got the Game Boy Color. They're actual original Game Boy games, but Game Boy Color came out. When Game Boy Color came out, my dad bought that thing and those 2 games. Another thing I should mention is something a game console or computer software I grew up that we all grew up with. Computer software or game console we all grew up with. I grew up with the Game Boy Color because my dad had it. My dad had it. He showed it to me in 1998, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It was the Game Boy Color though. But You just place the game in there, turn it on, and then boom. Oh wait, the volume's down. But the startup in this thing is gorgeous. Like, listen, hold on. Just turn the volume up. Actually, I should put my legs down. I'm gonna sit like this for now. Dude, the startup in this thing is gorgeous. Listen. You guys heard that? You guys heard that? Wait, let me bring it close to the mic. You guys hear it now? Hopefully you did. It's so nostalgic. It's so nostalgic. Even though it's only like 2 notes, I love that jingle. I just love it. That's the computer software I grew up with. Growing up in my grandma's house, I had a Windows. My dad had a lot of MacBooks. My dad had a lot of MacBooks in his household, but one of them was not a MacBook. One of the computers he had was not a MacBook. It was actually a Windows 7 computer, and the Windows 7 was revolutionary. Well, yeah, it was revolutionary. It was revolutionary mostly because it was smooth moving. It was very smooth. And the startup and everything about that computer was so gorgeous. Did you guys hear that? My voice. Sorry. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So yeah, the startup in that thing was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Dun 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 dun. I tried to imitate the startup, but you get it. Windows 7 first came out in 2009. I wasn't even born, but my dad bought it when it first came out. And I remember, like, during, like, 2016, 2017, and 2018, I would always play on that thing. Like, I would grind on that thing. I would watch YouTube on that thing. I would do anything. And then eventually in 2019, I moved on. I think my dad moved on to, like, a different computer. And then my dad gave me a new computer, which ended up breaking. So then my dad had to buy a new one, which was Windows 11. It was a Windows 11 Lenovo computer. And it's actually the computer I'm using right now. But yeah, Windows 7, I loved Windows 7, dude. Another thing I should mention, not only did I use Windows 7 at home, when I was in, like, elementary school, my elementary school computer lab had their laptops, their computers were Windows 7 computers. Hold on 1 second, guys. Is the live chat, like, is it, like, bothering everyone? I don't know. I can't tell how long it's been, but maybe, who knows. The Windows 7, dude, our school had Windows 7 computers. Our computer lab had Windows 7 computers, and whenever we would turn them on, not only would we hear that gorgeous startup, we would also see the little animation of it, the 4 colors just appearing, like going into like a circle, and then it starts glowing. That's what was gorgeous about the Windows 7. It was like, like the animation, the startup, the sounds, everything about it was gorgeous. The wallpapers, oh my gosh. Everything about it was gorgeous. I'm now using a Windows 11, and it's crazy. One thing I should mention, the Windows, like, Microsoft Windows has grown to be so popular that I feel like, it really will never die. It will never die. Like it first started in like 1985, and it's like, I think I like retired in 2021. But the problem is that it will never die. It will never go away. It will never go away. It will never change. It will never go away. Windows 11. In fact, Windows 11 is like turning 4 years old. I think it's about to turn 4 years old, like in like October 5th. Windows 11 is gonna turn 4 years old on October, and that's just crazy to me to think that it's a really like old. It's not that old, but it's crazy to me that I'm using a 4-year-old computer. It's crazy, and it's crazy that I'm still posting videos on this little guy today. And it's like from 10 years, like I love Windows 11 because the sounds and the startup and like, the alerts, they're just so peaceful. I just love it. The alerts, every time I hear those things, I just get so peaceful. It's just so peaceful. I just love it. But Windows 11, in like, I don't know, like 20 years or so, it's going to get nostalgic. Just you wait, friends. Just you wait, my friends. Just you wait. Just you wait, friends. Just wait. It's going to get great. It's going to get good. It's going to get good. Another childhood toy companies. Growing up in my grandma's house. I grew up in my grandma's house for like 7 years. Growing up in my grandma's house, I had... Hold on. Oh, growing up in my grandma's house, I grew up with a lot of toy companies, including Little Tikes, Fisher-Price, VTech, and Leapfrog. And all four toy companies are goated. Oh my god, dude! All four are goated. They're just so good. They're so good. They're all just good. It's been like 40. I don't know. It's 3:41. I think I started at like 3:17 or something. I don't know. But like all four toy companies are so good. Like they're just so interesting to me. They're just so like. I just feel like like all four companies are goated. Like they've produced the most interesting toys, and a lot of those toys I owned. I mean, Little Tikes, I think I owned like a little radio, like a little toy radio, which was fun. I owned a what? I think I owned like a toy. What else did I own? I mean, besides Little Tikes. From Little Tikes, I owned a toy radio. I think I owned... I don't remember what else I owned. I don't remember what else I owned. But from Fisher-Price, I don't remember what I owned from Fisher-Price. But I do know from VTech and Leapfrog. For VTech, I owned an Alphabet Apple. One of those little laptops they had. One of those little, like, pixelated laptops they had. I also owned a Tote & Go laptop that they had. I owned a lot of stuff from them. Another thing I owned from... I owned a lot of Leapfrog toys. For Leapfrog, I owned a lot. Oh my gosh, I owned a lot of Leapfrog toys. Is this thing bothering you guys? Let me know. Let me know when I upload this video. I don't know. It's just, it's probably going to get in the way. I just don't know. I might have to get rid of it. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah. It's just like, Leapfrog, I owned a lot of Leapfrog toys, and it's just so crazy how all these years later it's gotten like it's just gotten so popular. And I just feel like how do I say it? After all these years, I've sold all those toys. After years, 7 years, I own those toys. Wait a minute. Hold on. No, it was not 7 years. Sorry. No, it was like... 9 years. Yeah, it was 9 years. Never mind, guys. It was 9 years. For 9 years, 9 years, I owned those toys, and then eventually, when we moved here, we sold them. We sold them. We sold them. We sold them. It was because I kind of got tired of owning them to start it off. So yeah. What else am I going to talk about? Oh, I watched The Amazing Digital Circus. I know I made a short like a while ago, like recently, like a while. Actually, no, it was a while ago. It was me. Hold on, here. You know what? I'm gonna remove this just so because it's kind of annoying. I remember. I remember making a short a while ago. It was me. Sorry, you guys can see the camera. Hold on 1 second. Okay, what was the time? Oh yeah. Okay, a while ago, I owned a little a while ago, I made a short talking about the Amazing Digital Circus, and it's like, how do I say it? A little while ago, I made a short saying me describing every main character in the Amazing Digital Circus. That short, hold on 1 second, everybody. How many views did it get? It got 83 views. So it got around 83 views over the course of I posted on June 28th, and it got 83 views over the course of like what? That's like a few weeks. It got 83 views over the course of like a few weeks. You guys are legends for that. I really appreciate that. Oh, by the way, one thing I should mention. We are at 200 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Oh my gosh, I'm about to make a post. Hold on 1 second. 1 second, everybody. Thank you. Wait, actually, let me take a picture of it first. No. Just sorry, 1 second, everybody. Hold on, how's the chat doing? Nope, still not good. Okay, that's fine. Oh, yeah, that's right. I can edit it. Never mind. um, hold on. Thank you guys for 200 subscribers. You guys are legends. And I'm going to post some. And then I'm going to do some party emojis. Hold on. Wait, no. Sorry, wrong ones. Yay, we hit 200 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate that. And what else to talk about? So, yeah, I watched The Amazing Digital Circus, and I watched episode 5 and episode 4 recently, and I really liked it. Episode 3 I really, really, really loved, because episode 3, it was interesting, you know? It was interesting, because I think one of the reasons is because Pomni and Kinger are both, like, stuck together, and that, you know, in heck, I'm gonna say heck just so that way, you know, I don't get a lot of hate. It's just so that way nobody reports this live stream. Well, yeah, just so nobody reports it. Just, you know, just to keep it safe. Just to keep it safe. Just so that way nobody reports it, and, you know, hopefully we're all good. So, yeah. Another thing I should talk about. Oh, hold on. No, I should keep talking about The Amazing Digital Circus. Episode 3. My favorite episode, episode 3. I just love when Pomni and Kinger are both, like, stuck together in heck. That's what the room is called. Well, I'm not going to say the actual word, because I don't want people to take down my live stream. Or, like, I don't want YouTube to take down this live stream. Or, I don't want people reporting this live stream. I just don't. Okay? Thank you. I will say this. I just love the scene where Pomni and Kinger are both stuck in the basement. I'm just going to start calling it the basement. I love the scene where Pomni and Kinger are both stuck in the basement, and Kinger starts saying, I miss my wife, Pomni." When I first heard that, I was like, man, this guy Kinger just really appreciates, I don't know how to describe it. He appreciates, like, people being there. I don't know how to describe it, but you get it. Sadly, I can't read your comments. I would love to read your comments after this live stream is over, but if they... Amazing... Yeah, it's just like, you know, Kinger is just like, you know, he's been there the longest, but I just feel like, you know, he's just like, he has he actually understands what Pomni is going through. Yet he also is going crazy because he's been there the longest. But yeah. I really don't really have anything else to talk about. I mean, maybe I could just end it here. But maybe I could end it here. I don't know. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can. Who knows? Oh, I think one more thing to talk about. I think I had beef with TikTok in like February and March. I had beef with TikTok for a while, which is kind of crazy because I had an account on TikTok for like maybe like a few months, and then which was the Green Malcolm account, and basically it was the Green Malcolm account which allowed me to what was I saying? It was the account that I posted a lot of videos on, and eventually I and and then eventually I started to I started to post, whatever I want on that account, and then eventually TikTok gave me a warning saying you look like you're under the age restriction and you violated community guidelines. I'm like, what did I violate? Huh? Besides the fact that, none of my videos are appropriate for the For You page, which was a stupid thing to say, even though TikTok is owned by China. Like, what? Like, I was like, what is your problem, TikTok? You're the app that started my career, where I am today. TikTok is the app that started my career. I would not be here if it wasn't for TikTok. I would not be here if it wasn't for TikTok. I don't know why I'm holding the mic. I don't know why I'm carrying the mic, because I'm supposed to set it down, but because it's so small, I have to basically pick it up and if I'm like backing up, I have to pick it up. But you guys can still hear me if I'm like, just away from the mic. But anyway, it's like I had beef with it for a while, and then eventually I just made a new account on I made a new account with a Google account, with another Google account, rather than my actual Green Malcolm account. And that account is still up there today. If you guys want to check it out, go check it out. Yeah, I just also, it's like, it's weird that TikTok thought I was under the age restriction, even though I was like 13 at the time. I'm 14 now, but I was 13 at the time, or like around like I was 14. I'm 14 now, but like late February, early March, I had beef with it. They said they were gonna ban my account on March. I had beef with that app for so long, and then eventually I realized I could just make a new account. That's just how it went. That's just how it went. I had to make a new account. And that account is still there. Now my videos on that account is like Vine related, very Vine-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like if you haven't been on Vine, probably that either means you're too young, or that either means and that either means that you're too young, or maybe you don't really, or probably just because you couldn't really get the app. But basically, Vine was really popular during the 2010s, and then eventually it's not around anymore. But my videos are very Vine-ish. They feel like you're scrolling through Vine. I want my TikTok videos to feel like you're scrolling through Vine. I might make Vine-related stuff on YouTube. Maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? But I have a lot of things planned I have a lot of planned things coming up. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys are ready. I have a lot of plans coming up. Well, not a lot of plans. I don't actually have a lot of plans. Actually, this August, I'm gonna go to Yosemite with my family, and we're just gonna chill. We're gonna go swimming in the lake. We're gonna chill. We're gonna maybe watch a movie. Maybe chill. What am I saying? We're gonna chill. We're gonna chill in that cabin. We're gonna maybe go for a little swim in the lake. We're just gonna do a lot of things there. We have a lot planned there. Hopefully we do good. Hopefully we don't. Maybe we won't, actually, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Who knows? But what else to talk about? I've looked up. I actually talked to my dad about how many Windows softwares he used when he was growing up. He said the Windows softwares he's used were the only ones he actually used was Windows 3.1, Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows 2000, kinda. I think Windows Me. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask him again. Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10, and Windows 11. He's used all of those. Those are the only Windows he used. He also has a bunch of MacBooks. I mentioned that earlier, but anyway, learning the history of Windows was a lot of fun because I remember learning the history of Windows, and I was just blown away. I was just like, whoa, this is so cool. I love learning the history of this thing. People say that also something I kind of find funny is that people say that the Windows X I see on YouTube shorts all the time, and people are saying like Windows XP is the most nostalgic Windows sound ever. But I mean, I don't really see it as nostalgic. I see it as interesting. I think it's just I think I know what it is. I think it's because I've heard it so many times. I've heard it too many times to the point where I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying. I mean, I've heard it so many times. It's like, it's kind of annoying. The first time I heard it was on TikTok. I've heard it on TikTok a lot. I think it was like in 2020. I've heard it. I remember hearing it during COVID. Yes, I started making videos during 2020, which was interesting, which was fun. And then eventually that account got banned. Then I made a Green Malcolm account, and then that one got banned. And then I made another account, and then that's the account I use now. Hopefully you got all that down. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, heck, I made 3 accounts, and 2 of them got banned. Okay, 2 of them got removed. I don't know why. But I do remember a trend where it used the Windows XP startup sound, including the Windows XP like error sound. And I remember hearing that startup so many times during 2020 that I was just like, it's just kind of annoying. Like, why? And even now, I'm just like, why? Like, I'm just like, why do people see this as nostalgic? I've heard this sound too many times, way too many times, and yet people hear people saying this is nostalgic. I mean, I can understand why, but like, seriously, people say it's nostalgic, even though I'm just like, why? Why? If it's nostalgic, then if I thought it was nostalgic, then guess what? I would probably agree with them. If I thought it was nostalgic, I'd probably agree. I do agree, yes, it is nostalgic. The sound is nice. The sound is peaceful. But I just see it as kind of annoying. Like, it's just like overplayed. I just feel like it's been overplayed in my brain to the point where I'm just like, stop. This is so annoying. But, I mean, I can see why people say it's nostalgic. I mean, it is. It's nice. It's a nice sound. I think the most nostalgic one, the one that I have the most memories, the Windows I have the most memories of, is definitely Windows 7. I mentioned it earlier. Windows 7 was definitely the one I have the most nostalgia of. The sound, the smooth pacing software was beautiful during its time. The one that my dad mentioned, that the one he has the most memories of, is Windows 95. Which I thought was really interesting. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I mean, I do want to... oh, wait. I think one more thing. Hold on. Sorry. I burped. I do know that in 1989, when the Game Boy first released, it was huge. It was revolutionary in the gaming industry. It was ginormous. And then eventually, there was one problem with the Game Boy. The screen was horrible. Like it was black and white, and it did not have a backup light. The Game Boy, even the Game Boy Color didn't have a backup light. Literally, I'm literally holding a Game Boy Color right now. Look at this. I'm literally holding a Game Boy Color right now. Watch what happens when I turn it on. You can't even see anything. I mean, you literally saw the screen, but you can hear, but you can't see much from it because it doesn't have a backup light. It does not. And guess what? It only works if you are in a really very lit up room. If you're in like, if you, well, no, it only works when you're in a room with light. That's the only time it will ever work. Okay? It'll only work with light. If you're in a room with light. It's weird. It's just so weird. It's just so weird. And then guess what? In 1994, Nintendo heard about this and they heard about the complaints of the Game Boy. Like how, you have to turn on a light to make it function or in order to see the screen, and you have to basically and it's black and white. Eventually Nintendo heard about that and they made the Super Game Boy, and they also made a second version which was only in Japan. But the Super Game Boy was a Game Boy, it was like a Super Nintendo accessory, which was it was an SNES accessory where you could insert it, put a Game Boy game in it, put like a Game Boy cartridge in it, and then you could turn it on, and it would play Game Boy games on your TV, and it even had color. And then 1996. Well, no, hold on. Before I talk about the next one, Super Game Boy was really successful. It got a lot of good reviews. They made a second one, which was only released in Japan, but the second one was also successful. 1996, they made the Game Boy Pocket, which was a much more smaller version of the Game Boy, and much more slimmer. You know what I'm saying? In 1998, they had the Game Boy Color, which was is what I'm holding right here. They had the Game Boy Color. Game Boy Pocket also didn't have a backup light. They still didn't have a backup light. But Game Boy Pocket, well, I'm not holding a Game Boy Pocket, but you get it. Game Boy Pocket was like a Game Boy, but it was much more slimmer. Game Boy Color was also very slim. It was a slimmer version. It just had color to it, but it still did not have a backup light. In 1998, the same year the Game Boy Color came out, the Game Boy Light was released in Japan, and then eventually, Nintendo released it in America. Well, they sent a bunch of copies of the Game Boy Light in America, and like Nintendo did, and then it became successful. And then the problem with the Game Boy Light though is the Game Boy Light also has a backup light. Yay! The only problem, the Game Boy Light the Game Boy Light didn't have color to it. That was the only problem with the Game Boy Light. If you wanted to play a game with light, if you wanted to play on your Game Boy with light, you would have to use the Game Boy Light. You could not use color on the Game Boy Light. You actually had to use, let me re-say. The problem with the Game Boy Light was there was no color to it. It was black and white. It was just black and white with light. Hey, Ron. It was black and white, and it had a backup light. It was horrible. It was not the best. Wait, this was open the entire time. Hopefully that's not bothering you guys. But it had a backup light, but it was black and white. Hey, bars. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying though. Right? You get what I'm saying. It was not the best, but it was successful. It was successful, I will say that. And then eventually in I think it was in the 2000s actually. 2000s, Nintendo made the Game Boy Advance, which was extremely successful. It was one of the biggest things that Nintendo ever made. And then they made 2 other versions of the Game Boy Advance, like the Game Boy Advance SP, and then the Game Boy Micro, which was the very last Game Boy they ever made. So for 3 decades, they made Game Boys. For 3 decades, I think. 3 decades. Yeah, it was 3 decades. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say during the stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Maybe not. Anyone? No. Okay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this live stream. If you didn't, that's completely fine. I can't really see the comments. I couldn't really see the comments on this live stream, so I apologize in advance for that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching.